Morning, friends. Pastor Chuck Blair here. Thank you so much for joining us this beautiful morning. And today we're looking at one of the really fascinating parts of the Old Testament, dealing with Noah's Ark as we get into the actual ark itself. And from a Christian church perspective, we see these as poetic truths. Like, this is a story that's supposed to teach us something about life, supposed to teach us, have this inner meaning that really adds a lot to our life. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. And today it's just a small little thing, but there's so much spiritual wisdom packed into it that is incredibly important for us to think about and to just hold. I mean, I feel like today is one of those ones that um, definitely changed the way I pastor. It changes the way I interact with people. It's that significant. And it's going to sound super silly and super small when I first say it. And it's that Noah's Ark was not a boat. That was a big aha when I started being a pastor. So there's a word there for ark, and there's a word for boat, and they're different. The word ark only shows up a couple of other times in the Bible, principally when Moses was put in the bulrushes. If you're familiar with that story, he was a little baby, and they were trying to save him. They put him in. They build what they call the ark, and they kind of set him out adrift. Now, what's the difference between an ark and a boat? Well, you just think logically about it. Like, a boat has a way to steer, it has a way to navigate, and it has a form of propulsion: steer, navigation, and propulsion. And an ark has none of those things. We'll see none of that in there. It doesn't even have a rudder, which is kind of interesting. So listen to this line from the Bible, and then I want to do a little bit of a deeper dive into it. So God commands in Genesis 6, verse 14, make yourself an ark of gopher wood. You must make compartments in the ark, and you must tar inside and out with tar. So that's the initial instruction was you're to build this, no, you've got to build this ark. Folks, I find that so incredibly powerful to think about that idea that what God is asking of us is to create an ark. And really, it's God that's creating it, to be honest. But that we're to do our bit. And what does that mean? Well, I think anytime we go through floods, right? Anytime we go through floods, there's this immense feeling of not being in control. And it's easy if you are a control enthusiast, as Anne Lamott famously said. If you're a control enthusiast and you're going through a time without any control, to seek control, to try as best we can to grab onto all the control we have. Now, some of the time that will work, some of the time, no doubt, it's appropriate. And if you've lived on this planet for any length of time, I would imagine you have probably hit times where there was no navigating it. It just was an all-out storm. There was nothing you could do except for to try not to drown. Your primary task. It's just that. Just try not to drown. So that arc piece, folks, so beautiful and so important, because it says that there's just times in life that are just not going to yield to steps. There's times in life that are just not going to yield to plans or to even to our action. That our job will just be to have a time where we just sit with it, where we just sit with it. And this is actually a fairly long time that we're going to be talking about sitting with it. Now, God creates this thing to protect us in those times. And it's important to know that those times are really there. I remember reading the book "Wish You Were Here." Beautiful book. It was done by a female chaplain, and she was talking about how when she would go to make a call to someone who had lost a loved one unexpectedly, that they usually would spend about 20 minutes on the floor. Now, she would go to inform them that a loved one had died of a car accident. She worked for the I believe the Rhode Island State Police, and she would have to inform somebody, their husband or their wife had died in a car accident or a boat accident, any number of things. And she said, what she got to understand was that people would spend about 20 minutes on the floor when they got this news. They would simply sit. And that, I think, is the arc state we're talking about. It's where there's no making it better. There's no understanding it. There's no what next. There's no offering explanation. There's just simply a sitting with. And that's really, really important because it's so easy, I think, and I know I struggle with this sometimes, to think that there are, when these storm times, that no, let's get a boat, let's figure out propulsion, and let's figure out navigation. Let's figure out all these different things. And there's a time for that, but often that time is not right away. We just need time to sit with things. So friends, what I'd offer to you for the takeaway today is maybe you're in a space where it's just a sitting with it time. And please know that if you're just in a sitting with it time, nothing's wrong with that. Like that is part of the plan. Sometimes that's the best we can do. As a dear friend of mine said, remember that treading water is saves lives. And if you're just treading water, that's a good thing. I think that's an arc-like state. And just allow that. And folks, if you see someone else who's like in that place, just approach it gently. I mean, I think there are times where our friends and our family might need us to say something to get things moving. And a lot of the time, they don't need us to say anything. They need us to say nothing. They need us just to be there, just to simply be present without answers, without noise, just to simply sit with. And you folks for tuning in all know this stuff, so it's just a reminder, no doubt, of what we all already share, and just know the difference. And if you're not sure what to do, ask the person. What would you like? Would you just like me to sit here? Would you just like, what would you like? What would make a difference? Like, let me know. So that's the thought for today, folks. You know that an ark is not a boat. Know the difference. And, just understand there are times of life like what we're going to be talking about with this flood where really an ark is the best we can do. We're just floating and not drowning. And that may be as good as it gets for a little bit of time when life is hard. So, friends, that's my thought for today. And now what we're going to do is now we're going to do a little blessing, a little prayer. Um, and comments on social media. I do want to say that tomorrow morning I am dropping my son-in-law off down at the airport. So I'm going to be doing this way early. So there will be a 10 minutes of calm, but it'll get posted super early in the morning. I want to sort of keep up our rhythm here. And you will see, don't wake up early to see it, because I probably will be getting it up at like 6:45 a.m. or so. But just know that that's what's going to happen. So you'll see one up, but it won't be live with our normal 8:30 audience. So friends, let's get a little breath. A little stillness. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you, bring you peace, and bring you home. Amen. All right, dearest friends, let's um, get a little double check with everyone here. Let me reload my page. All right, take a look at the comments here today. All right. Yeah, so good to see you joining us with there's Brandon and Sheena joining us. Great to have you guys joining us from Doylestown Way. Linda, good morning to you, and I hope you're doing well. Martha, good morning to you, and I hope Michigan is going great out there as always. Talia, I love to see you joining us in the morning, and I hope you have a great day ahead. Um, Sherry writes, when it comes to you, sitting is what gives you a bit of calm to just process and let the story to go through you. Yeah, isn't it interesting, right? Like it's allowing these stories to go through us. And yeah, there's an experiential element to it. I there's an enchanted element to it. And you can see where the story actually, when we start to read it, in that more poetic way, the story has a lot more meaning. It's not just a boat in a flood. It actually has a lot there to tell us, which I find incredibly powerful. Um, yeah, Martha Wright. Wow, yes, had quite the moment of treading water, not dying, quite literally. Yeah, it sounds like there's a story there. And Martha, you know what? And it really is true. That actually was a friend of mine, probably a friend of yours too, Martha Pitcairn, who mentioned that to me, and I thought, like, yeah, that really is something. And we tend to think that somebody who's treading water is failing somehow, and they're not. Actually, that can be really the very best you can do, given life as it is. Paige, good morning to you, my friend. Marcus, good morning, and hopefully that made sense, Marcus, about what I'll do tomorrow morning. Sherry, great to see you guys on the weekend, and they were visiting from Tennessee, and great to see you joining us as well today. Jackie, great to see you there on us watching this morning as well. And Deborah, my dear friend, hope you're doing well. Great to see you with us also. So, folks, feel free to leave a comment any time of day. I know we got most of our folks, 95% plus watch archived, and that's great as well. If you do, feel free to leave a comment or to reach out to me directly anytime, 215-740-3662. So, friends, take care. God bless, and we will see you early tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.